Hello, my name is McLane Graffeo and this is my dad, Steve Graffeo. As my dad and I have talked about generosity, we decided to build a generosity ladder for our discussion today. We talked about the different steps that have helped me understand a little bit more about grace and generosity. So Dad, last year after World Conference, I was asked to speak in a video about the new definition of tithing. And in that video, I challenged everyone that had not started to tithe to get started. So isn't that the first step on our generosity ladder? To take the first step and to get started?
Well, it is one of the first steps, but the very first step and foundational one is to recognize that all the gifts that we have received come from God. God has and continues to pour out grace and generosity to each one of us, and we need to acknowledge and recognize that blessing in our lives. Then we are able to share with others what God has given to us.
So, receiving God's gifts with open arms is the first step on the ladder of generosity. We receive from God, and then we are able to share what we have been given with others. That makes sense. So our second step would be to share what we have been given by God and to get started as a giver and to give regularly, right?
That's right.
So since I fill out my tithing envelope each Sunday, and you and Mom do e-tithing each month, that would be consistent giving, right?
Yes, McLane, that would be consistent giving, which might need to be adjusted up or down based on what is going on in our lives.
So, because I'm still in 5th grade, Dad, and I don't have a job yet, I'm sure I will be able to increase my tithing as I grow. But it sounds like the main point is to develop a good habit.
Yes, McLane, and good habits fall right in line with learning to be a good steward. Think of it this way. God has given us everything we have and expects us to be good stewards over these gifts. We need to care for what we have been given and learn to share what we are blessed with others and the church. We need to align our heart and our money. There's a scripture that says, "Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." When we learn to live with this at the center of our lives, we will know what it means to share from our abundance.
Abundance? Is that like having a lot of something?
Exactly.
So that makes me think of when we were at Square Pizza last week. We ordered a large pizza and we had half of it left on our table, and we saw this couple walk in that we knew. Mom went up to them as they were standing at the menu board and asked them if they wanted some of our pizza because we had too much. They said yes, and they were very thankful. We had an abundance of pizza, more than we needed, and we shared it with others. The best part for me was not only did we make them happy, but I remember feeling very good about our act of kindness and generosity. That's kind of like aligning our heart with our money, right, Dad?
That would be a good example, McLane. So McLane, we're climbing to the fourth step of our ladder, which is true capacity. This can be a difficult concept to understand and explain, but let me try. In the Doctrine and Covenants, section 163, verse 9, it says, "Give generously according to your true capacity." Remember earlier, McLane, when we talked about consistent giving, I mentioned that it can change depending on what is happening in our lives? Well, true capacity is the same kind of thing. It changes with our life circumstances. We are constantly challenged to think about what is our true capacity. Every day of our lives, we should be asking ourselves, can I give or do more? Is this the best that I can do? How much do I really need for myself? We discover our true capacity when our desire to receive just for ourselves is replaced with the desire to receive in order to share with others.
So Dad, it's like what I did with my hands earlier when I showed how we receive gifts from God. I can receive from God just for myself, or I can receive from God and share with others. And I should always ask myself the question, is this the best I can do? And if the answer is no, I can do more, then I should do more, which pushes me to realize my true capacity at that moment in my life. It sounds like true capacity is not all you can eat, but all you can share.
I think you've got it, McLane. So now we're at the last step of our ladder. We will call this step extravagant generosity. McLane, can you remember a time when you were amazed or surprised at someone's generosity?
Well, this past year I was able to name all 51 countries of Africa in one of my tests at school. and a very good friend of mine was so impressed and moved by my accomplishment that he went and bought me my first suit, which I am wearing today. I was so surprised and couldn't believe the extravagant generosity that he showed me. He didn't have to do that. I just couldn't believe it.
I remember that moment, McLane, and you're right. It amazed me too and left me wanting to do the same for someone else. There are moments in our lives when we are able and want to share in an over-the-top kind of way. We want to make a big difference in someone's life or in the life of the church. These are moments of true blessing for both the receiver and the giver. May our goal always be to share generously of our abundance and blessings extravagantly. There's a saying by a man named Todd Bolsinger that speaks to this phenomena, and it goes like this: our generosity must astonish the people around us, leaving them dumbfounded for an explanation and flabbergasted for a rationale.
Thanks, Dad, for helping me today as we climb the generosity ladder together. I've learned a lot, but there's plenty more to explore. Each step of the ladder will need my focus and attention as I grow in years and understanding. So remember the steps. Receive God's gifts, get started giving consistently, be a good steward, and align your heart and money. Give to your true capacity, and be an example of extravagant generosity. I'm excited about all the possibilities.